Want a sword? Get a mentor. Hey, it's Nina Carmichael, and we made these videos because you're probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, my husband, Evan Carmichael. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1, default the service.
So I'm here in Puerto Rico. I was invited to speak at Brendan Burchard's mastermind event. These people pay $30,000 to $50,000 a year to be a part of his group. And I was asked to speak. I was one of 2 external speakers to be here over the past 3 days. And before going on stage, I had a little mini panic attack. My biggest fear is I'm going to disappoint people. My biggest fear is I'm going to let them down. My biggest fear is that Brendan, brought me over here, put me up in this amazing hotel, and I'm going to forget what I'm going to say. I'm going to let people down. I'm going to disappoint them, and it's going to look bad for everybody. And they paid all this money to be here. And just before going on stage in the introduction, Brendan's talking about how I've helped him and how I've helped him with his YouTube channel. And just backstage, I dropped all these genius knowledge bombs on him. And in my heart, I'm like freaking out even more. It's like, man, as if I wasn't already stressed out enough. You gotta bump me up and fill me up even more, which in my head is more expectations, what people think I'm going to do, people who may not even know me. Now they're going to be, putting all these expectations on me, right? Now I have to deliver even more, right, after the big setup. I'd rather under-promise and over-deliver, not have a giant promise and then try to match it. So here's the thing that saves me, and maybe it'll work with you. I default to service. When I'm stressed out, when I'm anxious, this happens mostly when we're afraid of other people's opinions, right? When we're about to make a YouTube video, when we're about to speak on stage, we're about to do something like talking to a customer, something scary. It's usually because of other people's opinions. And what I do is default to service, when I can catch it, right? If you catch yourself feeling the panic attack, default to service. So I'll look out into the crowd and I'll remind myself, I'm not here for me, I'm here for them. I'm here for you. I'm making this video for you. Hopefully, this channel is a part of your regular routine, your morning routine, and it's giving you inspiration and ideas and belief and hope in the morning. That's why I make these videos. It's not because I love standing out here on the balcony with my arm about to fall off because I'm tired of holding this phone up, right? I'm introverted. I have no desire to see myself on camera. Every time before filming, I have these moments of anxiety, feeling like I want the new video I make to be better than before. And so I get nervous and scared every time I get, even still now, in front of the camera to make videos like this, but definitely to do crazy speeches in front of people paying $30,000 to $50,000 to be there, right? It's about service. You're built to serve. You want to help other people. Give a message that matters. And so my technique that always calms me down and always makes me feel great is I think, this is about you. This is about them. This isn't about me. I did the same thing 2 weeks ago when I was in Whistler. Ed Milet and Andy Frisella flew me out to speak to their group. And these guys pay $60,000 a year to be there. There's 100 people in the room, super limited, super elite. And David Goggins spoke first, and then I spoke after him, and then Peyton Manning spoke after me. And I'm thinking, man, I got to speak between David Goggins and Peyton Manning? Are you kidding me? And so the hamster wheel starts running, right? Who am I to be here? Oh my gosh, these guys are so crazy and like elite of the elite, and I'm gonna disappoint people. I'm gonna let people down, right? That's the thought process, and I get anxiety then. But then I remind myself this is about service, that the people here I care about, and that they're thought leaders and experts, and they need to get their message out. And I know more about YouTube than David Goggins and Peyton Manning, so let's go, right? That's the voice inside my head. That's how I get myself into action mode. So it's not about being fearless. I think if you have those moments where you feel anxious, where you feel nervous, where you feel scared, it's actually good. If you don't have anything that makes you feel nervous, anxious, scared, you have a boring life. You don't like your life. You're bored because you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. You want things that are different. You want things that are outside your comfort zone. You want things that stretch you, and that comes with anxiety and insecurities and fears and doubts. That's all normal. But what you don't want to teach yourself is that when you get afraid, you play small. When you get anxious, you back down, right? That's not the message. It's true. You do it. You rise up when you do it. And the way to do it, at least for me, is one, telling myself I'm Evan Carmichael and I do scary things, right? Scary, difficult, or hard. I do those things. But then two, default to service. That this is not about you. Don't be so selfish. You have a message that can change the world. You have a responsibility to get it out there, to help people. And you staying quiet and you staying small doesn't serve anybody. You're built to serve. Now go live it.
Rule number 2, fear regret.
You rarely regret the things that you do. It's what you don't do that you regret the most. It's all the missed opportunities, the times you wanted to say yes but were afraid, the moments that you wanted to bet on yourself but you were scared. Those moments, that's what you want to minimize, because it's way better to know and to fail than to never know at all. So I look at my tour as an example. I started 2019 with a tour across 23 cities, 90 days, and it was a big adventure in not regretting my life. It started off as supposed to be a free tour out of coffee shops, and my agent pushed me and said, Evan, this is playing small. My agent, Steve in New York, said, Evan, you're playing small. This is small. This is small time, man. Doing these little free things at coffee shops is small time compared to what you're capable of. You need to charge for the event. You need to book hotel rooms. You need to charge for the event. You need to get people to come out. And the thought just of doing that was already making me scared because I'm afraid of disappointing people. When it's free, there's no risk, right? I can't disappoint anybody. It's free. But when they're paying to come out, I need to make sure that I deliver. I also thought maybe, what if nobody shows up, right? What if one person shows up? That's going to be a massive disappointment. And so I wasn't sure if I'd be able to do it. But the thing that got me through was regret. I don't want to look back. I don't want to be 90 and look back and say, I should have done it. I was afraid to bet on myself. I would rather know and fail than not know. And so I did it. Took some convincing, took some time to digest it and eat it, but I said, I'm gonna do it, we'll do it. Then as I started on the tour, the first ones were scary, I was nervous, but then we developed a pattern, a rhythm. Every 4 days I was doing it and got it, and then it became easy. And so I needed to take another step. My next step was, I had an idea. I wanna do Q&A. My favorite part of doing workshops and meeting people is Q&A, because I don't wanna just get up and speak. I want to help. I want to give you practical, tactical advice that can help you in your current situation. I don't want to just get up in front of a room and say the same thing that I would say every time. And so I was even a little slow in starting this because I had this idea for 2 or 3 cities that I want to start doing it. And I would slowly experiment. And then I was on an Instagram live and somebody in Sacramento, which was maybe 4 stops ahead of where I was, said, hey, do it in Sacramento. Bring it to Sacramento. Be the first in Sacramento. And that one little piece of validation said, okay, you know what? I'm going to do it in Sacramento. But then it bothered me that I had to wait for validation to then go off and do it. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to do it in LA, which was my next stop. And so we had 100 people in LA in a hotel room. And I went pure Q&A. And it became the best. It was my favorite stop on the tour. At that point, we had the best interaction, the most high fives, the biggest energy. Not everybody liked it. Some people came to LA as a second stop. They came somewhere else on the tour and then they came to LA and they said, I didn't like it as much. And others who came as a second stop said, this is the best format ever, right? You're not gonna please everybody all the time. But I loved it more. I had more energy, and then I brought it to the rest of my tour. But I still was slow. I was thinking about it 2-3 stops prior, and I didn't do it. I didn't have the courage to bet on myself. I was afraid that it wouldn't work out. And so every time I try to catch it a little bit sooner. Then it got easy doing Q&A, and then I broke my neck in Denver. With a month left on the tour, I broke my neck in Denver and had a concussion and compressed my spine and staples in my head and all this stuff, and thought, you know what, I'm gonna keep going. This is now my new chance, because if I don't keep going, I'm gonna regret it. Other people would let me off the hook. Everybody around me saying, go home. My agent thought I was crazy. Go home, take care of yourself. And everybody would have let me off the hook. But I couldn't let myself off the hook. I had to at least see. I'd rather know and fail than not know. I'd rather try to do the next stops. And if it didn't work out, if I couldn't speak because I had a concussion or I was in too much pain to keep going, then I would pull back, but I would know. And the next stop was in Kansas City, and my wife had to pull me off after an hour and a half because I was done. Like physically, mentally, I was done. She had to yank me out and say, guys, it's over. And then I got up for the next one and I did the full 3.5 hours and I kept going. And I was proud of my effort, and I look back like, yes, I'm proud, because if I stopped and I went home, I would have regretted it my whole life. And so this tour became this massive life-changing moment for me, in that first I was afraid to do it because I was afraid to charge, and then I was afraid to go and do pure Q&A, and then I was afraid to keep going because I injured myself and thought I wouldn't be able to provide value. And every chance along the way, stepping up and saying, I'm going to do it. And that's where you get the growth. Whatever the thing is in your life that you're afraid of potentially regretting, you have to go do that thing, otherwise you will regret it. So how do you do it? How do you stop living with regrets? I'm gonna give you a 3-step process that I think will help. Step number 1 is take the rocking chair test. The rocking chair test is, imagine yourself at 90, 95, 100, however long you're gonna live. You're at the end of your life. You're in a rocking chair. It's over. It's done. You can barely remember things. You have dementia. Your body's frail. It's over. You're back, rocking away, sitting on the porch. Your life's about to be over. What are you gonna regret? What are you gonna regret that you didn't do? You didn't go do that tour. You didn't make that phone call. You didn't ask that person out. You didn't make that book deal happen. You didn't make that first video. You didn't do it. You stopped. You were afraid. Because when you're at the end of the life, it's all gonna seem trivial. The fears, like, what were you so afraid of? You're afraid of your mom's opinion. You're afraid of some hater on YouTube giving you a negative comment. You're afraid that the book doesn't sell. What are you so afraid of? When you're at the end of your life, those fears are gone. But the regret stays for decades. So what is that thing that you might regret not doing? And then use that pain to push you into action. Take the rocking chair test. Step number 2 is hangnail versus punch. And so when you have a hangnail, it hurts. I kind of have a little hangnail right here. It hurts. If you pick at it, it hurts. It hurts. But then if somebody punches you in the arm, that should hurt. You don't feel this pain anymore because this hurts so much, right? If you've had that happen, you have a little pain and it bothers you, it's the end of the world, you got something stuck in your teeth, it bothers you, you can't get it out. But then if somebody punches you in the arm, you don't feel the thing in your tooth. You don't feel the hangnail anymore because this thing hurts even more. And so that's how I like to use regret. And you might think that's a little evil or masochistic, but it works, because the thing that you're afraid of doing is real pain. I don't think you can be unafraid. I think if you're just saying be fearless, then you're only doing things that are in your comfort zone. It's easy to be fearless at things that you're good at, you know how to do. You can be fearless in brushing your teeth. You're not afraid of that because you've done it so many times. But the first time you tried to brush your teeth, or the first time you tried to tie your shoes, you were a little afraid that it wouldn't work out, that you'd make a mistake, right? What's the process? Now it's easy for you. Being fearless means you're in your comfort zone forever. I think the fear is real. So how do you get through it? You give yourself a bigger fear, a bigger pain, which is decades of regret, and bring it back to today. That forces you to take action because the future pain is now bigger than the current pain. And third, understand that your fear is not a failure. People aren't afraid of failure. You're afraid of failing in front of other people. You will sing in the shower, but you won't sing on the street corner. Why? Because you're afraid of judgment. You're afraid of how people will see you. You're afraid of what they're gonna say, especially if you suck at the beginning of your journey and you don't know what you're doing. And so understand that the biggest reason why you're not taking action is you're afraid of what other people are gonna think and judge of what you're doing. Also, if you want to have more self-confidence and self-belief, I've created a special free program called 254, because the science says that it takes up to 254 days of consecutive action to build a habit. So what I'm going to do is send you an unlisted video to your email every day for 254 days for free to help your confidence and self-belief shift forward. The link to join is in the description below. Find whatever the smallest first step is, and then the smallest next step is, and continue to build those steps. And when you look back, you'll have realized that you made some pretty significant progress.
You can use rejection as fuel to help you go off and do something bigger and motivation to, I'm going to prove them wrong.
It's got to be your life's work. If you only had to write one book ever in your life, this is it, and it's got to be amazing.
Rule number 3, commit to doing it.
Stop thinking that you should be fearless. If you go through life fearless, that means you are playing small and not doing anything that is worth doing. You should be dreaming big. You should be pushing boundaries, and in that push comes fear. Instead of trying to be fearless, adopt the mindset that you want to feel the fear and do it anyway. Otherwise, you will never take on big projects, and you'll never accomplish your mission, and you'll always live below the potential that you know you're capable of. So I just came back from speaking in Phoenix with Dean Graziosi, Brendan Burchard, Eric Thomas, 1,500 people, amazing session. My greatest fear is disappointing people. My greatest fear is I'm gonna get on stage and bomb and disappoint the people who are paying money to be there as an expensive ticket to get in. And also I'm gonna disappoint Dean Graziosi and Brendan Burchard and people who brought me here to speak, right? It's their event. And I have to be the last speaker on the last day to come in and give them a good performance, right? I don't wanna let them down. We've never worked together before. These are the thoughts that are going through my head. And so I'm backstage. And actually the first day I get there, I've got the next day, right? I've got my whole day ahead of me and I'm gonna speak the next day. And then I get a call, so I'm in my hotel room and I'm practicing. I get a call and said, hey Evan, can you come down right now? We might wanna have you speak right now, let's figure it out. And in my head, it's like, right now? I thought it was going on tomorrow. I was in the middle of practicing. I haven't even gone through the second half of my speech, but the default reaction is, yep, I'm on my way. And I run downstairs to get to the event. They end up saying, it's okay, we want you back on tomorrow, usual time. Perfect, no problem. So now I got the whole night to prepare again. Now I wake up the next morning and I'm preparing in the morning. And then I'm getting down to the stage. And initially it was supposed to go on at 9 a.m. And then it got switched to 10 a.m. Then that got switched to 11 a.m. And then they want to take off 10 minutes of my time because we're running a little bit behind. So I'm 50 minutes instead of 60 minutes. And then changing my deck, changing the slide that I have. And then I'm sitting backstage and I'm waiting to come on, and it feels like the MC's, he's building me up and he's taking lots of time to introduce me, like, just bring me on, right? And every time I'm sitting there worried, stressed out, afraid, saying that it's hard, this is difficult. I'm afraid. My heart's beating out of my chest because I'm still thinking I don't want to go up there and disappoint people. But instead of being fearless, it's like, no, I'm afraid. And this is the best because everything I want is on the other side of this fear. And I'm going to go off and I'm going to do the best that I have. And every new thing that comes at me, they kept saying, man, you're so easy to work with. You're so easygoing. Yep. Meanwhile, like, I'm panicking and freaking out inside. And it's not about putting on a show. It's not about showing people that I'm afraid. It's about me telling myself that I do difficult things. Some people say when you are nervous, tell yourself that you're excited because it's the same feeling inside you that when you're about to go on stage or have a big call or do something that you're afraid to do, you're nervous, tell yourself you're excited. I don't want that. I tell myself I'm nervous and I do things that make me nervous. I love that I do things that make me nervous. I build my self-esteem and self-respect and self-pride from jumping in on the things that make me nervous. You want to do things that make you nervous. And so I got on stage and did a pretty good job. We had a little miscommunication on the ending and flubbed it a little bit, but I get backstage and Brendan Burchard's running back like, oh my God, you crushed it. So much energy, I love that guy. And now I'm on to the next thing. And if there's nothing in my calendar ahead that is scary, difficult, hard, that makes me feel afraid, then I'm not growing. And you're not growing too. So I've got a 3-step process that I'm gonna walk you through that can help you step into your fears that I think will help. Step number 1 is understand what is your big mission. What are you trying to accomplish? What is the big mission that you're on? I wanna solve the world's biggest problem. I wanna spread more belief. I think the world's biggest problem is there aren't enough people who believe in themselves and their Michael Jordan level talent. That's what I'm helping every single day for the rest of my life. That is my mission. What is your big mission? What is the thing that you're afraid of doing? What is that giant thing? Right now, me stepping on stage at Brendan and Dean's event makes sense because I'm trying to spread my mission. What is your big mission? Number 2 is, what's the next step that you're afraid to take? If you want to go off and have a big impact, change a lot of lives, you're going to have to do things you've never done before. Because the way you're doing it now, the growth that you're on now is not fast enough. You're not going to hit your target. It's not going to happen. It's going to require a bolder, more confident, more courageous version of you. And how do you get that? By stepping into the light. By stepping into your nerves. By stepping into your fears. That's how you grow. That's how you emerge stronger. So what's the next step for you? Your big mission, you just came up with it. Step number 1, what's your big mission? Great. What is the next step that you must take to move that mission forward that you are afraid of? And then step number 3 is commit to doing it right now. Commit to doing it right now. You are not allowed anymore to think of something that's big, that's exciting, that is game-changing for you, that gets you pumped up and ready to go. You're not allowed to think of that and then be afraid and then not do something. You need to stop teaching yourself that you come up with ideas, then you get afraid, and then you don't have momentum, and you play small. You need to break that cycle. So we've just gone through it. You came up with your big mission. You came up with what the next step is. Now you need to commit to doing it. Commit to someone else that you're gonna do it. Make a video talking about it, send that email you need to send out, text the person that you need to text, post it to your Facebook or Instagram. Tell people that you're gonna do this thing. Commit while you're feeling it right now. And then feel your heart beating, boom, 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 boom. You're scared, you're gonna wake up tomorrow, it's like, holy cow, what did I just commit to doing? You're committed to doing the thing that you're a badass at, because you're chasing down a dream, because you have a big vision, because you don't wanna play small for the rest of your life, because you're ready for this. That's why you committed. Now let's go.
And rule number 4, the last one before our very special bonus clip, change your thought.
Everything that you want out of life is on the other side of your biggest fears. You want something more. You know you're capable of something more. You'll come up with a great reason why you can't do that something more, but really, you're just afraid. If you want to break through, if you want that dream life, you need to change the way you think about fear, or it will handicap you for the rest of your life. So my biggest fear is disappointing people. I'm afraid that whatever I'm gonna do, I might disappoint somebody, and that keeps me playing small. And so whenever I can recognize it, then I have to go all in and do it, just to show myself, because it allows you to play on a bigger stage every time. And that big fear you have is still there. It doesn't go away. You're just capable of slaying a bigger dragon each time. So what used to count as disappointing people, or my fear of disappointing people, might have been going to a coffee meeting and helping an entrepreneur. I remember one time super clearly that I was booking a meeting with an entrepreneur, and I was so worried that I was going to disappoint her that I was hoping that she would cancel. And the story I told myself was, I'm too busy, I got all this stuff to do. You know, the realistic reasons that you can convince yourself, right? They weren't stupid reasons, they were realistic. But deep down was, I'm just afraid. I'm afraid that she's going to show up and I'm not going to give her value. It's a deep fear. And then once I went to go meet her, it was amazing. I remember sitting in my car and saying, wow, like an hour and a half ago, I was hoping that she was going to cancel on me, and this is the greatest thing of all time, right? Your biggest fears prevent you from living the life that you want. And so I'm afraid of disappointing people. I'm going on my tour starting next year. If you want to join the tour, there's information in the description below. We're hitting 20-something cities over almost 90 days. Come see me on tour. Please don't let me disappoint people. and I'm afraid. I'm afraid I'm gonna let people down. I'm afraid nobody's gonna show up. We're gonna be streaming live on my YouTube channel for the members for 8 to 12 hours a day. I'm afraid nobody's gonna be there. It's a constant, every time I'm doing something new and outside my comfort zone, is a constant battle that I might disappoint people. And so because I'm afraid of that thing, now I have to jump in and do it. Most of the time you can't catch it. I think we play small by default. I think your greatest fear owns you and is giving you tons of logical reasons why you can't do that thing. But whenever you catch it, whenever you do actually catch and say, I think this is just my fear talking, that means it's go time. That means you have to do it just to teach yourself that you're able to conquer it and move to a greater level of success. So how do you actually change your relationship with fear? I'm gonna give you a 3-step process that I think will help. Step number 1 is understand that self-confidence comes from doing scary things. Self-confidence, self-love, self-respect comes from doing scary, difficult things. If you're scared of something, right? Your heart's going boom, boom, boom. You're scared of it. You're worried it's not going to work out. And you catch it. This is the thing. Again, 95% of the time, you'll never catch it. You'll just subconsciously play small. But in the 5% of the time that you actually catch it, if you go off and do it, even if you don't get a result, just trying, just by doing it, you teach yourself that you're awesome. You teach yourself that you don't play small. It's better not to catch it than to catch it and not do it. If you don't catch it, you just keep living life, right? Ignorance is bliss. But when you catch it, it's like, I think I'm just actually afraid of this thing. That's why I'm not following through. And then you don't do it, you're telling yourself you suck. You're telling yourself you're afraid, and when you're afraid, you don't do it. I want to flip the script. As soon as you catch it, in the 5% of the cases, right? You catch it, you have to do it. You have to do it. You have to just go off and do it, because that way you're telling yourself, I'm amazing. I rock. It may not work out, but I'm crushing this fear. Let's go, right? It's a self-signal for self-respect, self-confidence, self-love, all of it comes from doing scary things. You love scary things. You eat scary things for breakfast, because the opposite of doing scary things is doing things that you know how to do, which means you're bored, you're photocopying your life every day, and that's not the life that you want to live. Step number 2 is trust your bold ideas. When you get an idea, trust that it is the right thing for you. When you're feeling bold, and this doesn't happen every day. We don't wake up and say, oh, I'm amazing, happy Thursday, right? That's not how most people wake up. We're tired, we don't have a lot of energy, we're not feeling bold. But you have moments. You have moments in your life where you feel bold, confident, unstoppable. Maybe it was after a meeting, maybe it was after a video, maybe you got inspired, maybe you're on a walk, a meditation. It doesn't matter. You have moments in your life, you know what I'm talking about. You've had moments in your life where you felt inspired, bold. An idea comes to you, it's like, man, if I could do that, it'd be amazing, right? You know what I'm talking about. And then the next day you wake up, say, I can't do that crazy thing. Who am I? I can't do that. I don't have the XYZ, right? The money, connections, time, resources, blah, 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 blah. I can't do that, right? Trust your bold ideas. I believe that the ideas that come to me, that come to you when you're feeling bold, are actually the right ones for you. And then your brain, which is designed to keep you safe and only understands the world that currently exists, your brain starts talking you down from it. And if you wait till the next day, it's over. Then your brain is already taking charge. It's in control again. You're back to being safe, boring, photocopy your life over and over and over again. So trust your bold ideas. When you're feeling bold, an idea comes to you, say, this is right for me. And then take some immediate action towards it. It'll make a huge difference. And then step number 3 is your bucket list is your excuse list. This might be a little more controversial, but I think when people add something to their bucket list, I think it's an excuse list. I think most people die with a bucket list full of ideas. Just because you call it a bucket list doesn't mean it's going to get done. This is the way you want to train yourself. As soon as you put something on your bucket list, go do it. Find the smallest possible way and start building it, right? That experience that you want, you could go off and do it and teach yourself that you're the kind of person who comes up with bold ideas and starts immediately taking action. Not in 5 years when I'm XYZ, then I'm gonna do it. That's garbage. That's loser thinking. You might think you're crushing it by having this bucket list of dreams and goals. You're not. You're teaching yourself that you suck. At least I think that. Because you're teaching yourself, you make a list of ideas and then you don't follow through. The best thing, there's a guy who came to my event in Phoenix. He said, well, my goal on my bucket list is I wanna climb Mount Everest. Okay, great, go do it. Even just believing that that's possible in the next year instead of waiting 20 years for that thing to happen, right? Already changes your mindset. You could do it. What do you need? You need money, you need training, you need resources. What? Figure it out. You could figure it out. If that really was so important to you, you could do it in the next year. You could. And if it's not that important to you, why is it on your bucket list in the first place? People die with their bucket list full. Your bucket list is your excuse list. Instead, start making an action list and get to work. Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know, what was your single
biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week. When you watch a video and you just get motivated, the sign says you have a 35% chance of actually following through. That's not good enough, Believe Nation. We got to take action. But when you get motivated and then you create a specific plan of action for when and how you're going to do it, your number jumps from 35% to 91% chance of following through. And when you commit to somebody else, like posting down here in the comments below, that number jumps to 95%. I want to know your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week. Put it down in the comments below so you can follow through and I can celebrate you.
Everything that you want out of life is on the other side of your fears. Every great thing that you want out of your life, the life you want to create for yourself, for your family, for the community, for the world, the life that your family and you deserve is on the other side of the things that you are afraid to do. And if you never jump into it, if you never address them, if you never do those things, those great ideas that you got inside your head that could change the world, if you never take them on, you'll live your entire life knowing that you were capable of more. You played small. You might have convinced yourself of all the reasons why you can't do it, but really deep down it's just fear and you played small. And we need to change that in this video. I just came back from doing an event this weekend. It was virtually, where I spoke in front of a couple thousand people. And just before going to speak, my niece was in the other room and she asked me, "Hey, are you nervous? Are you nervous about this speech you're about to give?" I didn't have any slides. I was set to speak for almost an hour. And I had one or two thoughts that I wanted to make sure I got out. And I just wanted to jam with the audience. My favorite thing to do isn't just to give a prepared speech, but to try to bring as much value based off of the people in the room and get their questions and answer them. And so she said, aren't you nervous doing that live with no slides? Like, are you nervous? Like, yeah, I'm nervous. And I do scary things. If you look at your calendar for the next month, look at it. Look at what you've got booked in your next calendar. If there's nothing in there that scares you, I believe that you hate your life. That just means that you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, right? You're photocopying your life over and over and over and over and over and over. Every day is the same. If there's nothing in your calendar that scares you, everything is the same. People ask me all the time, they message me and say, how do I remove the fear? How do I get rid of all the anxieties? Like, well, you don't all the way. Having too much anxiety, sure, but you don't want a life with no stress, with no anxiety, with no fear. That means you're repeating the same day over and over again. You would hate that life. You'd be bored out of your mind. You'd be bored out of your mind. So you don't want that life. The key is we're not attacking it. We're not addressing it. You're not doing enough to jump into the thing. And so you're just reliving the same fear in your head of what could happen over and over and over and over and over again. The path through fear is through. It's not to play small. Every time you get scared of something and you don't do it, you're teaching yourself to have less self-confidence. If a great idea comes to you, maybe you get a great idea from this video or another video or a book or a friend, you get inspired, a great idea comes to you. And it's a big idea and it's going to require you to grow and be a better version of you, right? And then you don't do it. You play small. You find some excuse, some reason why you can't do it. What you're doing every time that happens, what you're doing is you're teaching yourself that you play small. You're teaching yourself to have less confidence in yourself, less belief in yourself, that you're not capable. You're teaching yourself in these moments every time that you're not capable of doing these things. I'm somebody who can't do this. That's even if you don't say it out loud, that's what you're teaching yourself every time that you play small and you don't do the thing. You need to start to flip it. You need to start to show yourself that you do difficult things, that you take on challenges, that you jump into the fear. Whether it works out or not is not the issue. Whether you get the result or not is not the problem. It's, did you try? Did you put your best effort in? Over the past couple of weeks, I've interviewed Marie Forleo on the channel. We've interviewed Matthew McConaughey on the channel. I've done that big event for a couple thousand people in South Africa. We had Tony Robbins on the channel. And every time leading up to it, I'm scared. Having Marie on, I was scared. Logically, it doesn't make sense. Marie's great. She's a fantastic interview. You don't even have to ask a question and she'll have amazing stories to tell you. She's personable. She's loving. She's kind. She, what's the worst thing that's going to happen on the interview? But logic is not the problem. The problem is the fear, the emotion. I'm worried that she's not going to have fun in the interview. I'm worried that you guys won't like the interview. I'm worried that I won't ask the right questions. I'm worried that I'm going to squander my opportunity. I'm worried that I'm going to kick myself afterwards to say, man, I wish I asked her this question. All of these fears start coming through my mind. When I look at on the calendar, right? Look at your calendar a week ahead and see what's on there. I looked at that and like, ooh, okay, Marie's coming up. I got to make sure that I do a good job. But I don't let the fear stop me. The path through is through. You have to show up. Because what happens is if you don't show up, again, you teach yourself that you suck. On the Matthew one, I had Matthew McConaughey on the channel, and I was super scared for that one because I don't know that much about him. I don't know that much about Matthew. I know more the entrepreneur world, and I don't know, beyond the acting world, too much of what he's done. So I was more scared than usual even for that one. And I'm preparing and I'm researching and I'm watching his other interviews and I'm trying to find my angle and I'm trying to think about what to do. And again, the usual fears of, I hope his internet is good, because on one interview his internet wasn't very good. I hope I ask good questions. I hope he likes what I'm saying. I hope you guys watch and enjoy all the usual thoughts. And then he ended up being 5 minutes late. He was 5 minutes late for the interview, and we were on a timeline for it too. And I thought maybe we had a miscommunication. So, the countdown is coming, right? All day I'm nervous. And then whatever time it was, say it was 11 o'clock. I think it was 11 o'clock his time, so 2 o'clock my time. We're counting down to 2 o'clock. And countdown. Okay. 1 o'clock. Oh, God, okay, it's an hour. I'm not being very productive now. Okay, half an hour, 20 minutes, 5 minutes. Oh man, those last 5 minutes. Okay. Last glass of water, last bathroom break. Let's go. We're on in 5 minutes. Okay, I'm ready. Let's go. I'm ready. Let's do this. Christina, my editor, probably saw my cameras because I started recording before we started and just see me pacing and going back and forth and scared, trying to practice and remember. And then it's 2 o'clock. Okay, here we are, 2 o'clock. I'm ready to go. Let's go. 2:01, 2:02, 2:03, 2:04. And that may not seem like it's 4 minutes, but those were like the longest 4 minutes of my last 6 months sitting there waiting, because now the thoughts are going, oh my gosh, did he not get the invite? Did it not happen? Are we not on for today? And it immediately goes to, I did all this preparation and practice and anxiety and stress and worry, and we're not even on today? Are you kidding me? Because the only thing worse than doing it is not doing it, right? What's worse than showing up, not showing up? And it's funny how often we want things to get canceled. I used to wish things were canceled on my calendar all the time. I used to wish that things would be canceled, that the person doesn't show up or like they're sick or whatever, so I wouldn't have to show up and potentially disappoint people. But I've had to lean into that to say, no, I'm here to bring value. I'm here to serve. I'm here to help. And the only thing worse is just not showing up. And how that makes you feel about yourself. That's a worse feeling. The stress of preparing for the interview is not as bad as the energy that you put on yourself if you don't show up. So how do you do it? How do you get through? Well, the two things that really help me are, one, the words scary, difficult, or hard, right? Or seeing a word like fear. But for me, it's more scary, difficult, hard. Those are not acceptable reasons for me to play small. That if you can catch it, that the reason for you not doing your mission, your goal, the thing in front of you is because you're afraid, it's difficult, it's scary, it's hard, to teach yourself that's not a good enough reason. Not anymore, not for you, not this year. Nope, that may be who you used to be, but not anymore. You're a person becoming. We're taking this on. Not a good enough reason anymore. Scary, difficult, hard. And then two, the thing that helps me is just service, default to service. I'm here to help. Why am I interviewing Marie? Because I want to help, because I want to help her with her book, and I want to help you. I want to try to get some value out of her, that she says something in a different way that I haven't said before, and maybe that inspires you to take some kind of action. I want to help you. And as soon as I get out of my head, my own selfish head of this is about me and how good I look or how bad I might look, which is more like it, and into service of I'm here with the intention to try to help and serve, that gives me the courage to go do the thing. Because not doing the thing is no longer an option. And when you remove that option and focus on you, do difficult, scary, hard, and you're here to serve and try to help, if you did that consistently and that's how you show up for your daily life, look out. Look out, world. Look out, fantastic life for you. Look out, because you're about to create some amazing things and go actually achieve the life that you deserve.
If you want to learn how to kill your biggest fear in your life, check out the video next to me. I think you're gonna enjoy. I will see you there. Continue to believe.
Once you get there, the first time is super scary, but then afterwards, each time is easy.
Yeah, but the next year you get to the cliff again, even though you've done it.
I get it.
It's still scary the first jump.
I get it.